This was the site of the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series Championship earlier this afternoon, and now it's time to pop the champagne and celebrate as Kyle Larson is crowned our 2025 NASCAR Cup Series champion in the Jewel of the Desert. Welcome into NASCAR Inside the Race. Partnership with our friends at Yahoo Sports and Motorsport.com. We have a very exciting show today. I'm Alex Weaver, joining you live out here right in front of Victory Lane, where we crowned Kyle Larson a champion. I'm joined now by Kyle Petty and Mamba Smith. We're waiting for Peacock and NBC to wrap up their coverage, so we are going to have Steve Letarte, as always, my co-captain here on the show, joining us, and Jeff Burton. But let's start with the highlight of today, KP. I mean, Kyle Larson, he doubles down on the desert, gets his second championship, but it came down to a late race restart, and Kyle Larson dominating.
I felt like it came down to a late race pit stop. Even before the restart, when you get into it. Denny and those guys decided to change 4 tires. Larson went with 2. They were only 5 spots apart. Larson was 5th, Denny was 10th, and I'm thinking, okay. And Mama, we were talking about this. It's Corey Haim all over again. It's Corey Haim 2.0. You know what I mean? We're going to see the same thing. Wrap the inside and take off. And he just got boxed in coming out of 2. Couldn't make something happen. Larson was almost boxed in on the high side, but made something happen on the outside, and it was all over from there. It was going to be tough for him to find his way back and pass 3 cars plus another car for the championship.
We are going to be joined by the champ himself. Kyle Larson's going to join us here on the show. We're hoping to get his crew chief, Cliff Daniels, as well as some representatives from Hendrick Motorsports. I'm trying to pull for a Jeff Gordon here on the show, so we'll see if we can make it happen. But Mamba, we see Kyle Larson. He gets his 2nd Cup championship in his 11th full-time season.
Yeah, and a season that I think most people were like, what happened to Kyle Larson? What happened to the 5 team? They couldn't get it together. They couldn't keep the momentum when there were fast. Things always happen. They changed pit crews. They talked about so many things in that 5 group that were changing throughout the year. And I think that it finally clicked. It finally came together. But honestly, I lied, because it really didn't. They had a flat tire that had come from the back, and they figured it out in the ultimate team sport. And I know that this one felt extra good for the loss of their teammate, John Edwards, who we love. It was just an amazing effort by that whole group.
Yeah, and listen, you look at Larson, I think they got the wave around at one point in time. He was a lap down. He was a solid lap down. Had to get the wave around, come back, and they just kept making pit calls. Daniels did, and to get them in, Cliff made the calls to get them back up in position. And here we were with, 30 or 40 laps to go, and the 4 championship contenders were 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we have that last pit stop. But we talk about this, and we have talked about it. I felt like Kyle Larson disappeared in May. He went to Indy and never came back. That's what I felt like. But once again, big-time players perform in big-time events. And when it come time to get up on the wheel, he was up on the wheel with both hands and his feet. He was making something happen there.
You're hearing all the fans clap behind us because, as I mentioned, we're live. They're still celebrating, but Kyle Larson has just made his way into our staging area, so he's getting mic'd up. He's going to join us here on the show as soon as he is ready. But, KP, the 18th driver to win multiple Cup championships. We know how hard it is in this sport to just win one. We saw Denny Hamlin, which we are going to talk about, the heartbreak of the 11 team today later on in the show. But it's impossible to win one. To win multiple is, you're writing yourself in the history books.
Listen, I was very blessed and very fortunate to show up at a time when Richard Petty won championships and Dale Earnhardt Sr. won championships and Jeff Gordon come in and Jimmy Johnson. But along the way, you had Rusty Wallace with one. You had Bill Elliott with one. You had Terry Labonte, who came back and ended up with a couple. But so many great race car drivers who won 40, 50 races have one championship to their name. So to have those 2 championships, that's why Joey Logano, we talk about Joey all the time, he's got that 3. That's a huge thing, man. That is so huge in this day and time. So to get that second one was a monumental event.
All right. Well, he hasn't officially added it yet to the fire suit, but for 2026, he'll have a 2 in front of that championship banner. Let's welcome him in, the champ.
Are you believing it? Are you believing it?
First of all, I just want to know, KL, you talked about not even leading a lap today, but you led the lap that mattered out of the championship 4 because you were the first one to cross the start-finish line. So what does it feel like, 2-time champ?
It's, it's still feels a bit like a dream. I will be honest, like it does. Just for how our race was going and all of that. And just stayed with it, and the way that, this track is, the tires were, and the format is, that's all we had to do was just stay in it, keep swinging, and we made the right calls at the right time.
Kyle, can you talk about, you just mentioned it, you just stayed with it. What was the conversation like with Cliff? What was he giving you for information? How were you able to keep you and your group locked in to get this thing done?
Well, our race it wasn't going good at really any point. We were pretty average, but it was kind of straightforward there the first couple stages. And then we had that pit stop hiccup, I think, at the end of the second stage, which dropped us back to like 18th to start the final stage. And had a great restart, and I was like, all right, we're still in this, get some cautions, get some good pit stops, we'll be in this. And then we had the right front go down. I'm like, okay, well, it's definitely over now. We'll need some luck to just get on the lead lap, and we did. We got some luck, got to take the wave around, and then it was terrible that next run, and I don't know what I was running, probably 18th or something like that. And I wasn't even thinking 2 tires at that point. I was like, oh, we're too far back to even make that work. And as I was turning my stall, he's like, we're taking 2. And I'm like, oh, God, this is going to be bad news. And it worked out. I had a great grip on this restart and then fell back to 5th. And obviously knew my only shot at that point was another caution. And the whole point, I'm like, if we get another caution, we have to take 2 again because the grip was really good. So, yeah, we got this caution right here. And we were both on the same page, took 2, and just ripped around the top. So it was wild.
Yeah, I want to go to that. You rip around the top here, but it almost closes right there. The door almost closes on that. I felt like you won the race or won the championship in that moment by that lane staying open. What were your thoughts when you rolled on out and 2 and they come up the racetrack on you?
Well, that's the first time I've seen it clip, since after the race. So close. I haven't even, had a chance to really think about what happened. I just remember just running like. I didn't get as good of a launch as I wanted to, but I was able to just go to the clean air, which was much higher than I was expecting, and then just kind of floor it around the corner. And yeah, I guess we or that hole didn't close. I think with the 60 maybe.
So look right there. There's Denny on the inside. You guys are almost equal at that point.
Yeah, I heard
almost
4 wide at some point. I'm like, oh. But then I get I have the run here, so it didn't close. Right here, I'm like, man, let's just not crash into 3. It looks like I pinch a little bit there. But then, I get clear off of 4 here to 3rd. I'm like, man, I got a shot to win this thing still. And then it's kind of hard to balance that. They said the 11 was stuck a little bit, and you still want to go for a win. I knew I was like, man, I'm going to get through 1 and 2 good here again, and thought maybe I could get to the outside of the 6 potentially and then win. But gave him a big shot here. Hoped he could get clear enough to get to the bottom into 3. And but anyways, it didn't matter. We won the race, won the championship without leading the lap, which is insane.
It's kind of wild that we're saying he didn't win the race. Ryan Blaney obviously wins the race, but it doesn't matter for Kyle Larson. He's the first one to cross the line, so he takes home the big trophy at the end of the season. But KO, when you look back at this season, I will be honest, and I have said this to you before, KP and I were 2 of the people that were like, where is this 5? This is not the Kyle Larson that we are used to seeing. How much more rewarding is this championship, even maybe more so than your first?
It is. It's every bit as rewarding, I would say, in a much different way, as I imagine it probably would be if we somehow won the championship. But I didn't expect to win the championship like that, without contending, without leading a lap, anything like that. So, but I think that just kind of, showcases our season in one race. We had our ups and downs throughout it. We just kept fighting. We were never dead. Just kept staying motivated, kept throwing things at it, kept just making the right calls at the right time, and executing when it mattered. And that's all we did today. We literally just executed when it mattered, and I can't say enough about it.
Yeah.
Kyle, you're known as a gasser, probably one of the ultimate gassers that we've ever seen strap into a race car. And, sometimes that gets you into trouble. And your team never quits. There's been so many times throughout the year where they put that race car back together, and then you go out and run a fast lap. Is it moments like that that get you prepared for situations like today? Because you feel like you've been there already, done it, and if you get back on point, you'll be all right.
Yeah. For sure. I would say at all points of any adversity throughout our season, it built us to execute a day like we did today, where we didn't have the fastest car, probably had the 4th fastest car, honestly, and just found a way to stay in the hunt and get it done. So with some luck along the way, obviously. So, but that's what it takes. The Cup Series is crazy. These races are insane. Today felt like no Phoenix race that I've ever ran before, with tires blowing and rubber getting, blocking, the air to the brake ducts and stuff. And it was just, it was something I don't think any of us expected.
I want to know, how hard is it as a driver? You said, we maybe had the fourth fastest car. How hard is it to see a performance like Denny Hamlin and that 11 team put in, and knowing it's all on the line, that's what it is, and to stay motivated to say, okay, my chance might come, how hard is that for a driver? Well,
it wasn't hard, I would say, because at least when I could see him and see the front of the field, when I was back in 18th, I'm like, man, this is over. Maybe if we have another format someday, I'll be able to win another championship, because I don't think I can here. But when he was checking out and William was better than me, and the 19 was having his issues too, but I was like, if I could just stay within a couple positions of them, I have all the trust in the world of my pit crew that we could go lay down a good pit stop and maybe come out the lead, and maybe if I get clean air, I can hang on long enough for whatever the last run might be. So that's what you're always trying to do when you're not leading, and then so going back to that initial 2-tire stop, when the 11 got to the lead, was going to win, and we had fallen back to 5th, still I was just like, at the whole point, I'm like, obviously doubting a caution might come, but I'm like, I need to stay in front of Briscoe just in case a caution comes, and it did, and then we did the 2-tire stop, and rest is history.
Well, your second championship, I know how big the party was on the first and the celebration. So what do the next 3 days look like for you and this team to celebrate this one?
Here.
I know.
He has a house here. So.
No, I sold it.
Okay, we don't get the house here no more.
But no, it'll be just probably more fun. Now it's not
somebody else's house. Somebody else's house.
But no, I've been telling Cliff he needs to hydrate.
Seriously, get Cliff some water right now.
I will say, at least I would say the banquet being on Tuesday now, I think will probably help us pace a little bit tonight, and his wife is here. Last time we won, she was pregnant, and Cliff died, and so she's here tonight to make sure he doesn't die.
Hey, real quick, we got I see a lot of Kyle Larson memorabilia back here. What's one thing you want to say to these group? You got a lot of fans around here, man.
Thank you guys. Thanks for the support all year long. I know it's been a long time since we won, and I appreciate the support. So, it's pretty incredible. Just my fan base always sticking through me throughout the years, throughout a year like this, and it's just when you win a championship, it feels good to repay not only your team but the fan base as well.
He's got a busy night. He's a 2-time champ. He doubled down in the desert. Kyle Larson is your 2025 NASCAR Cup Series champion. KL, celebrate it. Soak it in, friend.
Thank you guys.
Congratulations. All right, Kyle is going to exit here and continue on with his media availabilities.
Good job, Kyle.
Always love when the champion is just absolutely fired up to win a championship.
It's you like to see the guy win a race, anybody win a race, and then celebrate and truly be emotional. And he's stunned. He is stunned that he's the champion.
I think we
but
are
at
too.
the same time, he is so freaking excited inside. I mean, he's animated. He's like, I hadn't seen it, but this is what happened, and he's moving. I've never seen Kyle Larson really that way about things.
I think it's because the year has been so weird for them. He's never gone through that. He's a winner. That's what he does. I think this is the least amount of being up front he's been since back in Nasty. So this is just new and different.
And he said something. He said, I believe in my team. I believe in Cliff. I believe in my team. I'm telling you, Talladega. Let's go back to Talladega. And Cliff says we got enough to run, 2 green-white checkers, and they run 1 lap and they're out of gas. And he never doubts them. That's a call he lived with. He died with it, but he never doubted Cliff and never doubted that team. That says a lot for that organization and that group.
100%.
It is he and Cliff Daniels' 5th season together, their 2nd championship together. But I want to also, before I let you two go, KP, I know you're going to hop in here and stay in here with us when Steve Letarte joins. But 2-tire versus 4-tire stop was kind of the heartbreak that led to Denny Hamlin's day. just an absolute game changer on pit road. Mamba, what did you see, and what did you make of the stops there at the end?
Well, I think it was Letarte's over here. He's trying to hop in here.
He's ready.
He's ready.
He should be ready.
I think it was one of those deals where we saw it on Friday night with Corey Heim.
Yeah.
I think it was. I was like, man, we're gonna see the young guy show this old hog a new trick, and I think it was the right call. It just didn't work out with how the traffic went.
That's right. I look at it, and I don't see anything wrong with the 4 tires that Denny put on. And we saw on that clip. He was even with Kyle Larson.
Yes.
He was on the inside. He was even with Kyle Larson. He got boxed in coming out of turn 2.
Yep.
He let his car go up the racetrack, got boxed in, and that's the difference in the race. Because from there on out, there were 2 or 3 cars between him and Larson, and he couldn't overcome that, even with 4 tires.
He got boxed in by the 22 moving backwards, and if you notice, the 22, I think, finished right on the tail of the 12. So if he could have just got there, it would have been a whole different race.
Yeah.
I know that.
Oh, good, Steve.
If Alex can't hear you, just
Yeah,
talk.
we can hear you. We
Yeah,
can
we
hear
can
you,
hear you,
Steve. We can hear you
Steve.
talking. Come on.
Come on in.
Just come on
Yeah.
in.
I mean, you
You're
might as
talking to
well.
us,
Yeah,
too.
just come on.
Who do we want out?
Because
All
we
right.
can hear you talking, man.
I'm going to let Mamba
Good to
go
see you.
because he's going to continue
Hey,
to
man,
hang
listen,
out
I
with
just want
Kyle
you to
Larson
know
and
I
the
saw your
drivers.
shoes, so
Yeah.
I brought my shoes just to prove you didn't have the most game up here.
Oh, my God.
That doesn't prove anything, but
Let
have
it.
fun.
Y'all wouldn't let me join from the start. What
This-
happened?
I wish
let
we
him
could have
chime
let
in.
you.
Let him chime in on that. He's
This
a crew
is
chief.
my co-pilot.
Yes.
When they
He's
told
the
me
guy.
I'm
I
going
see
live.
how it is. You
No.
get the big stage. You start
is the
without me.
man.
No,
He is the
they
man.
told
All
me
right.
go
It's all
live
right.
without
That's
Steve
fine.
Letarte. Pure panic in my eyes. But
You can't moonlight in this job when
No,
your main one's still there.
exactly.
All
Okay,
right.
I got you.
my crew chief has joined us here because perfect timing. 2-tire, 4-tire on pit road. It was the heartbreak of Denny Hamlin versus the other Champ 4 drivers with strategy. What'd you see, and what would you do differently?
So I thought 4 tires was the right call. So I thought about this as I walked down here from the booth. I think Friday affected today. So I think if Corey Heim, when he took 4 tires, I was at dinner on Friday watching on the phone, and I thought he had lost the race.
I heard you say that. Heard you say that on one of the broadcasts.
I thought he
heard
had
you say
lost
that.
the race.
Yes.
And the 7-wide move that won influenced my opinion tonight, which was like, oh, I'm going to take 4 tires. So here's what I tell people, and this is like a really unpopular statement, but the truth is, it's not just what the right call is, it's what am I okay losing with.
Yeah.
Because what are you going to be able to lay your head down at night? So if I'm Chris Gale, I take 4 tires, and here's why. Denny Hamlin's had a monster day. He has the best car.
For sure.
It's 20 years in the making. Our jobs on top of the pit box is to deliver the opportunity for our drivers to be a superstar. And I believe that if you run this restart 5 or 6 times, it's a coin flip whether 4 tires works. And I know everybody's going to tell me I'm wrong because they know the results already.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, if you run this data multiple times, I am not sure it's just obvious that the 4 tires lose. I think Kyle Larson, who's in disbelief walking around here like he's in a dream, isn't giving himself enough credit of driving badass on 2 tires.
That's right. That's why I want you to see the restart. I don't know if you've seen it multiple times.
Oh.
But Denny is just about even with
That's right.
Larson
That's right.
in the middle of 1 and 2.
The
in the middle
moment.
he got pinned in. Denny got pinned in on the bottom, and the cars were coming back to Denny as Larson's lane was moving forward, and that was the separation. That was the race right there for me watching the race.
For me, the moment was in the middle of 1 and 2, the 5 gasses up to the outside of the 48, and the 11 gets stuck.
Yeah,
and then they run the next lap, and I'm like, all right, he still has a chance, and he rolls down into the inside of somebody, and he gets a little loose.
And
He
he
has one wiggle.
Just one wiggle up the
That's
racetrack. He crosses the
Game
line,
over.
and he's
so
up
right
the
here.
racetrack.
Yeah.
All right, so right here we're going to take a 3rd car outside 5 of Larson, right? We're firing it down into turn 1. Larson is in okay shape. Just to his inside is that big progressive Toyota right here. The 5 gases up. He's going forward, and the 11 can't get to the inside of the 22.
No.
That, I thought, was the moment.
That was the moment. For me, that was the moment right there because he maybe had a shot going into 1 and 2 the next lap, but he couldn't make anything happen.
So now I'm still a believer. I said, well, Hamlin's still fine. He's going to turn left. He's going to shorten this up. He does. And I'm like, yep, he's still, I mean, the 5's right there. It's going to take something magical. He has to spin left if he's Hamlin and right.
Right.
There.
That's
That
right.
looks for the 11. That's the moment.
Okay,
He had 2 bad 1 and 2s. Basically,
2 bad 1 and 2s.
2 bad 1 and 2s on a green-white
the
checker.
flat
and
end of
you can't.
Phoenix is the side of races here
Yeah.
since you and I
You
have
get
coming.
these 2 wound up.
Yeah.
There's
I'm
no
sorry.
telling
I'm
how
sorry.
long they're going to go. The only person that I would interrupt these 2 people for is, I'm sorry, Steve. I'm sorry, KP, one of my favorite
Yeah,
people
come
on
on
the
in.
planet.
Come on in.
Come on in. He's the vice president of Hendrick Motorsports.
Oh, man.
Jeff Gordon.
Man. Congratulations.
One of the greatest drivers.
We thought it was going to be the 24.
Listen, I told you. I said I love Larson, but I'm a Willie B man. I told you that before the race, and you said either one. It doesn't make any difference.
Hey, can we start with William Byron for a second?
Yeah, sure.
I have locked in. Like, I talked to him on Thursday. I saw him again on Saturday. I texted him a few times.
Coming off of Sunday, Martinsville.
Like William Byron was. I know it wasn't his night tonight, but as an organization, man, you got to feel great because if that guy we saw over the last 7 days, if that's the new William Byron, then, man, bar the door for the next 10 years.
Those were all the things I was telling him when I saw him on pit road. It wasn't doing much good, Stevie.
No, it's not. It's not.
I mean, they've had an incredible year, right? Second Daytona 500, regular season championship. I mean, the way he had to earn this to get here. And then on Friday, they had speed, right? Both the 5 and the 24. That's the one thing I'm disappointed in. And I don't want to be disappointed right now because, my gosh, we just won the championship. But we didn't bring what I thought we were going to bring based on what I saw on Friday. I thought we had a little bit more for that 11. And so I give Denny and JGR all the credit in the world, man. They ran a heck of a race, heck of a season. But don't ever count out Cliff Daniels, Kyle Larson, and just this sport, right? Yeah. This sport can just throw some things at you that you cannot predict. But I appreciate the way you were analyzing that, Steve. I mean, talking about Corey Heim, and the 11 and some of those influences, and not to mention how good the 11 was on short runs.
Right. Wow.
Right? I'm kind of like, 4 tires, I think he's going to blow right by everybody as well. I still didn't think, that Larson had it, but when he wrapped the top, and the 11 got caught by the 22 a little bit there. I was like, oh, wait a minute.
Yep.
Yeah, guys, can we roll that one more time as they come off the pit road and go?
Jeff was trying to watch it over there. He was leaning in trying to watch it.
I want to have
Just
Steve.
let him see it for real.
I saw it live, but I hadn't seen the replay.
I want to have
So I
Steve
talked
this
to
opportunity.
Larson before he came on stage, and he said he learned at the restart before that he was on 2 tires. He went down in there thinking, man, I'm not going to have enough grip, and it worked. So this is the restart. So, Jeff, we have Larson, third car outside. From your vantage point, what do you think?
Well, first of all, he didn't get a good launch. Like, I expect him to be side by side with the 48, 3 wide right here. And then he ends up going to the outside, and I'm like, oh, gosh, didn't want to see our guys make contact. But when he made that big run off of 2, and then you see 11 bogged up on the bottom, these cars are such a level playing field, as good as the 11 was. But these cars and this tire, it just isn't quite like the Truck Series, right? Yeah. And so at this point, I'm like, same as you, Steve. I'm like, okay, we're good. We got pretty clean air. 11 is going to wrap it and get by, probably get up beside the 22, and then that happened, and I'm just bringing home. So
let me ask you this question: It's what championship is this for Hendrick Motorsports?
15.
15.
Phil, he's bearing the lead, 15 out of 30.
Yeah,
listen, 50%.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
50% in the last.
Well, I won't give it to you. They just took it. They just
the
took
last
it.
30 years.
But here's my question. This is his second, and we asked him about it, but it's not sunk in any. What does that second one mean to back something up that you've done? Because there's so many great drivers: Bobby Allison, Bill Elliott, Rusty Watts. So many great drivers have come through, and they have won.
Yeah.
What's it mean for a driver to back that up?
Yeah, I mean, it takes you to another level, puts you in elite company, right? Gets you closer to what's next is 3. And me and Larson, we like to jab one another, and I tout him because I want him to do it, right?
Yeah.
I love records are meant to be broken. Nobody knows more than you, Kyle, and your family. But I always say, I got 4, buddy. Come on, bring it on. And so we were joking. He's like, I said, if you got to get to 4, you got to get to 2. Yeah. So he's an incredible race car driver. But more so than that, he's an incredible teammate at Hendrick Motorsports. The way he has come in and just taken on the leadership role, working with Cliff Daniels, the whole team, but working with his teammates, he knows that he can't get it done by himself. And I love that about Kyle Larson, his work ethic as well.
And Jeff, you touched on it right when you came on, but I want to talk about this stable here at Hendrick Motorsports because right now we're closing out this chapter here at Phoenix, but you have drivers William Byron, Kyle Larson, Alex Bowman, Chase Elliott. We'll head to Homestead, Miami to crown a champion next year. I mean, I can only imagine that this is the floor for you guys. Like, the expectation now is a championship at Hendrick Motorsports every single year with these 4 drivers.
Yeah, I mean, I got to go back this season, right? 6 months ago, I wasn't sure if we could get 1 here, let alone 2 here. And even if we got 1 here, I wasn't sure if we had anything, to bring, just because the program on the shorter tracks, the 1 mile tracks, was just not quite there. And our guys, they brought it. They went to work, and they were like, we want to win a championship. I think we feel like we're a little bit behind with this car. It's an older car out there. Okay. I don't want that to be an excuse, and they didn't use it as an excuse. They're like, there's grip to be had and work to be done. Let's go for it. And that's what I think got us here, right? The performance at Martinsville, and that's what got us here. So I'm super proud of that. But I got to say, I'm really excited about next year. I mean, our guys love Homestead, and our cars run good there. So, but you got to get there. I don't know what the format. Who knows what the format's going to be? We'll see. But man, I hope we're in the fight again. That'd be amazing.
So I had Darlington circled. I've walked the halls for 20 years.
Oh, thank you.
I know what it's like.
That was ugly.
No, but that's my point. I feel like for the years I was there, not that we ever took speed for granted, but I think it's natural instinct, right? When you're up top, it's scary to change things. Yeah. And what's Mike Tyson say? Everybody has a plan until you get punched in the mouth. Yeah. And we felt like you guys were just laying in wait. Like I was like, oh, here they come. Saturday at Darlington, I would have picked the Hendrick cars, and then they were nowhere near on Sunday. That is 9 weeks ago, and now you're sitting here. That's got to be a testament to the organization and just the work ethic within the group.
It is. It's the group. It's the way they work together, the way they fight, the way that they see that, and the adversity that they have, the ability they have to overcome it, and that lit a fire under them, all of us. And I got to really credit the leadership, too, from Rick Hendrick, Jeff Andrews, Chad Knaus. I was in that Monday morning meeting, and it wasn't pretty. I mean, those guys were disappointed the way they ran, but we were disappointed the way they executed. It wasn't just the way we ran. We didn't have anything go right, and that lit a fire underneath them. And you saw when we got to round 2. I mean, luckily we survived round 1, but we got to round 2, and you started to see those guys. They were bringing something different after that.
All right, Jeff, we're going to let you go. Continue the night. I know it's going to be a big one for Hendrick Motorsports. Congratulations on 15. You brought 4 to the organization, but you look good doing it in a vest, too. It seems to be working.
Well, I'm enjoying every moment of this. I love being in this role and seeing our guys shine and perform like that and being a part of it. And got my City Chevrolet hat.
I saw that.
Classic, man. Classic.
A lot of meaning right here, right?
Is.
Rick Hendrick, first championship 30 years ago. City Chevrolet, probably if that hadn't happened, I don't know if any of us are here racing. Yeah. I don't know. Days of Thunder 2. What do you know? What do you know?
There we go. I knew he'd get something out of him.
Here we go.
He's already ready the champagne. He's dropping notes.
I know. Thank you, Jeff.
Never stop.
Congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
Congratulations, man.
Thank
Congratulations.
you so much.
KP, we're also going to let you go.
Good.
Continue your night.
I'm out.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you,
Kyle
guys.
Petty, everybody,
Thank you guys for letting me do this with you.
It's great.
Appreciate it, man.
It's great.
We always love having our regulars, our OGs on there. Kyle Petty been a guest on the full season of Inside the Race, which is kicking off here our championship show. Now, finally, with Steve Letarte, we have a partnership with Yahoo Sports and motorsport.com, which is incredible for tonight. It's how you guys are getting all of these scenic shots at Phoenix. But let's talk about your point of view. What was it like calling a championship again up there in the booth?
So I'm going to be honest. Jeff Burton and I have this conversation a lot. This is the 11th year I've had the opportunity to call a championship race. And we make sure we take a small, just 5 minutes after all the meetings are done, and we understand the opportunity we have in front of us to crown a champion.
Yes.
I was never able to do it. Jeff and I came close a few times. I was never able to stand on the top rung of the podium as a champion, as a crew chief. I was as a crew member, but it's just quite not the same. So we hold that responsibility very, very high. And then we were delivered just an amazing race of pure chaos, right? The teams had it all. Denny Hamlin, I thought, brought us best. My heart broke for the guy, right?
Me too, Steve.
I feel like everyone's heart broke for us. But, what I've learned about racing is this racetrack and these competitors in this sport, you're owed nothing. And I know that's awful to say, but it's so true. And I feel like Denny did everything he could in his interview. I thought he was very gracious, but he said he wouldn't do anything different, and I agree. But how about Kyle Larson? He's not giving himself enough credit for the closing laps.
Yeah, well, let's bring him in. You mentioned his name. Jeff Burton's going to join us here. He's down from the booth as well. Hi, Mayor. Good to see you. We're doing great. Better now. We have officially crowned a champion, but as Steve brought up, obviously it's such a meaningful time in all of our careers to be able to witness history. But when you look at a guy like Denny Hamlin, the heartbreak that he felt today, what did you think of the 11 and how he handled the situation?
Well, he handled it as well as you could, right? I mean, obviously dominating car. Steve and I were talking about it in the booth. Like, with this next-gen car, I'm not sure I've seen a car that much faster than the field on those short runs. I mean, it was ridiculous. And Denny did everything right. Like, it's one of those days where you take a step back as a driver and you say, you know, it just wasn't meant to be. And I second-guess Chris Scales' call, 4 tires. Certainly that'll be a big conversation. You know, but Denny Hamlin, he has to go home knowing he did his job. And but he has to be heartbroken. I mean, absolutely devastated.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk more on, obviously, the 3 that did not get crowned a champion. But let's bring in the mastermind on top of the pit box here today. He gets his 2nd championship with Kyle Larson in his 6th season with Hendrick Motorsports. Cliff Daniels, who can literally, I mean, you just tee him up to talk about anything NASCAR and racing, and he can just talk for days. So, Steve, you want to start this conversation with the old crew chief?
So I'm going to hand it to all 4 crew chiefs on, was that Friday morning? Friday morning.
Yeah, Friday morning.
We did a little sit down out here, and I will tell you, it became clear to me that all 4 were ready.
Locked
but
in,
Cliff always has this demeanor of, like, I'm just not ready. I'm ready to fight. I'm ready to go to war. Like, it's this very dialed-in, focused demeanor. It was a war today. I mean, it was a war out there. Take me through just your day, the emotion. Has any of it settled yet?
No, it really hasn't. And, you know, just general thoughts on the day. Certainly acknowledge that it was a pretty ugly day, you know, for the way our race played out. At times our car was okay. We certainly never had the speed that the 11 had. Then we had the issue on pit road that set us back. You know, the flat tire, the wave around, all the things. And, you know, I would be very remiss at this point if I didn't acknowledge that the 11 came here. They were the best car. They did an amazing job. I thought Denny drove an amazing race. So those guys, you know, have every reason to feel gutted the way that they are because they came to compete, and they certainly did. But at the end of the day, the way this race goes and the way our format is, you've got to be alive at the end, and you've got to be able to make bold calls and come back from the adversity. So in what was, you know, at face value an ugly day for the 5 team, to me the beauty of it for us is that we stuck together. Everybody believed in each other. We overcame the issues, and we just didn't accept that we were going to be dead. We didn't accept that we were going to be behind. Certainly had to make a couple bold calls at the end, but Kyle knew, hey, this is our fighting shot. And he was willing to hang tough up there on the outside and go get it done.
We made a point last week that it was the sentence that Letarte used was, we know in this sport it's not over till it's over. That was the case for you guys today. It came down to a late race pit stop, a late race restart. When they showed you on camera, when it was Kyle Larson who crossed the start-finish line first of the championship 4, you shook your head. It was just you sitting there, stone cold on the face, shaking your head. What was your emotion right there in that moment?
There was a lot of things that, you know, really came to the forefront of my mind, and the emotion of our season. The way today played out was very similar, I think, to what we saw of ourselves this season. You know, at times there were good things, at times it was ugly, and we just had to overcome adversity. So all of that was really captured in the way today went, and off the track there's been a lot of things that we've dealt with as a team of you know, guys losing family members, and there's just been a lot of things that we've had to go through this year as a team that I think is really important to have everyone there believe in each other, believe in themselves, be able to encourage each other, and we were able to put that on display today when things weren't going our way, and because of a lot of the obstacles, a lot of the adversity that we've had this year, we've had to learn how to lean in together and trust one another, communicate, work, grind, be resilient, show a little grace along the way, and that's what we captured here today.
Well, it's easier said than done, right? When things are going badly, many times teams fracture, right? And we had Kyle Larson the other day, and he bragged about you being, you're the best version of you've ever been. I think that says a lot for your leadership and also for Kyle Larson, everybody on the team, because you're your best when things weren't going great, right? Yeah. Which meant there's an understanding that there are things that happen in this sport. We're going to work through it. How did you find that ability to be the leader to keep everyone together? Because it's a very difficult thing to do.
Well, first and foremost, I've had to rely a lot on my faith. And I've been on this journey this year. I actually read the entire New Testament really during the playoffs. And that was really powerful for me. I've been deep into different types of leadership books and really just spending time with the team. You know, nothing all the personal journey that I've been on, nothing replaces having the personal touch with the team and getting to know the guys. We've played paintball together, we've done go-karts together, we've done dinners together, we've laughed and cried together, we've been through so many things. That is what's important, because at the end of the day, we're all still human beings that we want to win, we want to do all the things that we want to do, but how we conduct our character and our integrity and our resilience in life is what's been the theme of the 5-team this season, and that's been what's important. And even now, I feel like we've earned our place here, but I know that today we weren't the best car. We were just a very resilient team, and there's nothing wrong with saying that and knowing that we were just dead beat, but we never gave up, and that's powerful. I'm so proud of the guys on the 5-team for their resilience, their character, their integrity, the grit that they showed all season long, and certainly showed it today when it mattered most.
Well, I'm going to make you uncomfortable because you don't like talking about you. I walked the halls. For 20 years, I was there. I worked for Abraham. I worked next to Chad Knaus. You now join those two as the only guy to sit on the pit box for Mr. Hendrick to bring in multiple championships. I know you might not appreciate it now, but at some point you're gonna have to just admit what you've accomplished here. I know you don't like to pump yourself up, but that's an impressive list. I mean, two Hall of Famers, by the way, you've joined on that list.
Yeah, it's an honor. I don't know how else to say it. It's an honor, and you know, Chad Knaus was such an influence on my career. Of course, working under him for 4 or 5 years, won a championship with Jimmy, and those two together had just such an impact on me from the team building standpoint, from how to compete, how to do things the right way. That I will always be very grateful to them for the opportunity they gave me to be a part of that journey with them, even when it came on the backside of the greatness of their career. And of course, Ray Evernham is just an inspiration to anybody in the Cup Garage. So it's an honor to even be considered with them. But one thing that I think both of them would highlight, and I would like to as well, it's so much more than just the individual of me in the seat that I sit in, or Kyle in the driver's seat. We have so many good people and so many good leaders at Hendrick Motorsports. We have so many good teammates. Stevie, you were there for a long time. You know what it feels like to walk around and feel the common bond, the culture that is led first and foremost by Mr. and Mrs. Hendrick, and the way that they conduct our place. That's what matters. You know, that culture and that leadership and that level of care for people to achieve a common goal. That's what matters, and it's not any call that we made today. It's so much more than that. It's the work that went in to get us here, to put us in position, so that we could even have the tools and the things that we needed to go out and perform today. So that's what stands out to me is being surrounded with such a great organization and such great people, even though it is an honor to be mentioned with some of the greats.
I'll say it for him so he doesn't have to, because that was a very humble, typical Cliff Daniels answer, but you're a 2-time championship crew chief. You are one of the best. You will go down in the legend books as one of the best to ever do it at Hendrick Motorsports. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Kyle said he is so excited to celebrate with you, so please go celebrate with your driver.
Our last celebration got a little wild, so we'll see how tonight goes. Thank you.
Well, you got to double up 2 times, man. Congratulations.
That's right. Thank you.
Congrats.
We're going to continue this conversation because obviously we do have 3 drivers that we have to talk about that didn't win the championship today. We talked a little bit about Denny Hamlin, but Steve, I want to toss to his interview right now, and then I want to get your reaction from this. Let's hear from the driver who finished in the runner-up championship battle, Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, nothing I can do different. I mean, prepared as good as I could coming into the weekend, and my team gave me a fantastic car. Just didn't work out. You know, I was just praying that no caution, and you know, had one there, and what can you do? It's just not meant to be.
You ran away from everybody. The car had speed, and then the caution came out. What went through your head?
You know, I thought still okay, but you know, we took 4 tires, and I thought that definitely the right call. And just so many cars took 2 there, and obviously put us back. But team did a fantastic job. They prepared a championship car. Just didn't happen.
Can you do this again?
I'll try. I got a couple more shots at it, but you know, man, if you can't win that one, I don't know which one you can win.
Steve.
Well, I thought, you know, Jeff got to talk to him before the race. We saw the emotion from Denny Hamlin. We heard from Coach Gibbs talking about both JD and Denny's father, who's very ill. Look, I'll be honest. In the TV booth, I don't think Jeff and I have really ever rooted for anyone. We just root for a good race. I think the fans on it. But I will tell you that I was a little heartbroken for Denny.
Me too.
I feel like after 20 years, earned is the wrong word because the sport doesn't really know anybody anything. But I guess I thought the dice were going to come his way for once. I thought that his perspective this year has been like any other year, whether that's fatherhood or all the other challenges that he's gone through. And then to come here and just be as good as they were. Right, Jeff? I mean, I think that's the difference. You and I talked beforehand. All I hoped, I didn't really care who won. I didn't want a mechanical issue or something like that to end it. And none of that happened, yet I still feel bad for Denny. Excited for Kyle Larson, but I do. I just feel awful for a competitor who I thought gave us a championship performance that just wasn't meant to be.
Yeah, Denny's done a great job of this year of showing his real personality. He's opened up to the fans. He's opened up. And the fans have appreciated that. I mean, you heard, I was down here at the introductions, and there were a lot of people cheering for Denny Hamlin. I saw polls this week that showed Denny Hamlin as people wanted to see win. And because of how he opened up to the fans, he created this really cool environment around someone that's toward the end of his career, right? And people started pulling for him. And I'm with you. Like, we don't pull for winners, but, I mean, for who's going to win. But you had to feel that as many races as he's won and as big of a role as he's played in winning races and who's going to win it, owning a race team, all that stuff, gosh, surely he won't have to end his career saying, you're the guy that won the most races that didn't win a championship, right? I know it gets old. You know, I know it gets old for Mark Martin. And I, you're right. You don't deserve anything in this sport. You got to go win it. But gosh, man, he was 2 laps away from getting it done. And that is a career-changing 2 laps. I mean, no matter what you want to say, I can say it honestly because I'm not a champion. So I know what it means to not be a champion. And a lot of my colleagues are champions, and it puts you in a different league. There's no way around it. So you always want the best. I hate Mark Martin won a champion, right?
Me
you
too.
always want the best, and at 60 wins, you have to assume or give him the credit that he is one of the best.
Denny led 208 laps today, obviously losing the race there on pit strategy in overtime. But when we look at a guy like Denny, 44 years old, had so much noise and commotion and additions to his family and health issues in the family, but the three of us have talked about it on Inside the Race before. He hit another level this season.
Yeah. So it brings me back. So Jeff Gordon was just here. So Jeff and I, I worked for him forever, and then I became his crew chief in 2006. And we made a run in 2007 that was as good as I ever had as a crew chief. We won 6 or 7 races. We led the regular season by 300 or 400 points. It reset in the playoffs. We won race 4 and race 5. We were leading the points. And then Jimmy Johnson became Superman, and he won the next 4. And it was at this racetrack, after finishing 10th to Jimmy Johnson's win with 1 race left, that I walked from about here on pit road back to the truck. And I was never the same crew chief from that moment because we were not destined, but you start to believe. You start to believe the hard work's going to pay off. You're doing everything. Like Denny said, he didn't know what to do different. What crushed me that day is I couldn't relive what I would change. And it just wasn't enough. And it's like being heartbroken. It's like being in love and being heartbroken. When you truly give your most as a competitor and it's not enough, it takes a long time to get over, if ever.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how much energy Denny can muster for another run at this because he has the talent. But what he's done at 44, Jeff, I mean, is unreal.
It's so hard to keep that high level. And the older you get, you become 1 year away from it not being there.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it happens quickly.
Yeah.
In no way am I saying Denny Hamlin can't win a championship next year. I'm not saying that. But he would say his years are way, way more behind him than he has ahead of him. And, look, I think there's a couple things Denny Hamlin can think about, right? In the middle of this lawsuit, hopefully that gets over soon. Hopefully he can catch his breath, take some time, and then recharge. I will tell you that I did have years that the disappointment of the previous year, I couldn't get over it, and our team didn't get over it going into the next year. It's very difficult to do. If there is a new format to the crown of champion. I think that is like, okay.
Oh, yeah, like
okay,
a little bit
like,
of
here we go.
motivation, a little
That's
bit of
right.
light,
We got
maybe.
this,
Yeah,
right,
okay.
right.
All right.
Maybe I can get it done like this, right? So I think changes like that can have a positive spin, but these teams have raced since Easter. They are all exhausted. Denny emotionally has to be exhausted. There's no way he can emotionally be exhausted. He needs some time, recharge, and then go to Daytona and just see what he can make happen.
Yeah.
Let's bring in one of our friends from motorsport.com, a writer, Matt Weaver. Come on in, Matt. We're going to talk to you first. Let's start with this Denny storyline.
I normally see him at a short track. This is like
That's
a new
right.
look. It's a new look for Weaver.
Jeff, too.
Oh, yeah. We've seen a lot of each other over the years at short tracks.
Matt, let's talk about Denny, because from a writer's perspective and writing this story, which I know motorsport.com will cover this championship, what's the headline on Denny Hamlin?
Well, I want to tell you guys a story, and this is the main takeaway that I wanted to have for everyone, is that when I walked on pit road after the race, the biggest takeaway was just the feeling, the emotion, because if you stand in the middle of pit road and you see the 11 team, people are crying.
Yeah.
Denny crying, Jordan crying. And then you look over towards, Hendrick Motorsports, those guys are crying, and it's a different kind of crying. But if you have any empathy whatsoever, you feel it, and in that moment you recognize how much this matters to everyone in the sport. And, regardless of who won, who didn't win, to me that was the biggest takeaway of tonight, is I am just reminded of, after 38 weeks of work, you are reminded in this moment how much it matters when it plays out at the end.
All right, Mayor. That was the runner-up finisher here in our championship 4. But two more drivers. We've talked to William Byron a little bit, but let's visit Chase Briscoe, because I personally told Chase when talking to him earlier today, regardless of how this falls, if you're crowned a champion in your first championship 4 appearance or not, please hang your hat on this season, as it was expectations well exceeded in this 19 car.
Well, I think what I hope for him is he recognizes how good he is.
Yes.
I think there's times he questions how good he is. Tonight was a deposit on a future championship, right? You got here, you experienced it. I don't care what they say. They were all calm, everything's good. No, you're not. It's nerve-wracking. And now you've experienced it. You've been here, you've done that. And now when you come back the next time, okay, I understand what to expect. I know what the week feels like. I know what the race feels like. I think that experience is extremely valuable. And he says it. He feels like that team is just at the very beginning of how good they can be. He thinks they have so much to learn together. He says the first third of the year, throw it away. It was junk. It was useless. They all of a sudden got running better, and that they can build on. So I tell you, I've talked to him a lot. He's very, very excited about the upcoming year.
If he can keep his perspective with gaining the swagger that his talent deserves,
yeah,
then it's going to be unreal. Because that's what he strikes me as, right? He strikes me as this, oh, shucks, I'm replaceable. And I'm like, no, if you were, I would have drove. Like I want to be a race car driver. You have to actually be good at it, and he is outstanding at it.
So the thing about Briscoe that stands out to me is I first met him when he was running ARCA for Cunningham and Chad Bryant.
Yeah.
And the thing that I hold dear about Chase Briscoe is that he always gets defeated, and then he comes back. And he was told that he couldn't run full-time in ARCA, and he comes back, gets the funding, makes it happen. Well, you're not going to be an Xfinity driver, wins 10 races, right? And then, well, you're not going to be a top-tier Cup guy. He keeps coming back from setbacks, and when he comes back and he's faced with a scenario for the second time, he wins. And I promise you, the next time that Chase Briscoe, mark my words, he has a chance to win a championship in any format, mark him down as the champion, because that's what he does.
I always love hearing Chase Briscoe's story. I mean, Matt, you mentioned it, but he was sleeping on couches as a kid, just trying. I mean, you talk about for the love of the sport, just wanting so bad to be a race car driver, and growing up idolizing Tony Stewart. So, Chase, if you're listening or if you're watching Inside the Race here, you are officially a NASCAR Cup Series driver of a championship caliber. So I hope he takes that and runs with it.
I've been thinking, like, he shouldn't even have been in the show today. They had so many things wrong. He should have been a 20th. Like, they shouldn't have been in the final frames of that restart. And I know it didn't go good. They lost a set of tires early. We could go through the details. I don't think the details matter as much as there's no reason they should have been as close as they were. Nothing went right. So I'm going to hold you to it because I don't think you're crazy there. I think the bounce back is real.
No, I marked them off 3 or 4 times, and every single time, first of all, the pit crew. The pit crew kept getting them back in the top 10. I would look at the monitor that we have on TV, and it spits out the top 10. And every single time that they had a malfunction, a tire failure, all of a sudden, there they are in 10th. And then on the restart, he ends up 7th, 6th, and it's like, well, how?
Yeah.
All right. It's official. The 2025 season has officially come to a close. Now all that's left is we're going to celebrate our champions and have some fun in the desert for the next 2 days. We have some awards that we're going to give out on Tuesday night, so you're going to want to tune into that. But, Jeff Burton, before I let you go, you've been on the show all year long. Final thoughts on this season and this championship?
Well, look, I thought we had an incredible season, and we had some great racing. The evolution of the tire, I think, I know there was some tire issues tonight, but the evolution of that tire has made some really good short track racing. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people, I don't know why, a lot of people always want to talk about the bad of the sport, but there is so much good going on at the same time. Tonight was a wild night, and it's just another example. You never know what's going to happen until the checkered flag drops. It's just how this sport is. It's why I love it. It's difficult. It's hard. The emotion, Denny Hamlin's kids crying, his family crying. I mean, I'll be honest, that made me cry because I had one that cried all the way from Daytona to Concord, North Carolina one night, and it's just, this sport's hard, and it's emotional, and the only way you can survive it is put the bad stuff behind you and think about what's gonna happen in the future. But I feel really good about our sport, and I'm excited. Heck, we're not even done yet, but I'm excited to get to Daytona in February.
Well, Stevie and I have loved having our partnership here with Yahoo Sports and Motorsport.com. So, Matt, let's wrap up this season. You travel along this crazy circus that we call life covering this sport. So what do you think of 2025?
Listen, my favorite thing about this sport is I grew up a car guy. I grew up a competition. I'm the son of a dirt track racer. So it's always been racing first. But my favorite thing about NASCAR and covering NASCAR is actually the people. And you really appreciate it on a day like this, last day of school, when you have a lot more time to walk around the garage. The work is done before the race. There's no thinking about next week. And I'm just reminded that my favorite part of this sport is we have the most dynamic and diverse competitors in any sport in the world, and I love covering it and everyone inside of it.
All right, Stevie, final thoughts. Here we are.
So I think that really the season delivered a little bit of everything I need. I thought it lost some unnecessary polish, and it showed up with some much-needed grit. And whether that was Bubba Wallace finding a way to win a crown jewel at the Brickyard, whether it was Chase Elliott going from 10th to 1st at Kansas, whether it was SVG proving that, I didn't grow up here, but I'm going to beat you not once, not twice, but 5 times at the road courses, or whether it was the 8 drivers we saw in the round of 8, which I thought were the premier 8, and then an amazing 4. Like, it had everything. It had the appropriate amount of oops, right? whether it was some wrecks we saw or some tire issues that went away. You're not looking for perfection, or I'm not. I'm looking for entertainment. And what I consider entertaining is when man, machine are pushed to their limit. And I think we saw that both with the machines on the racetrack, but pit crews, engineers, crew chiefs, spotters, their talents were tested, their emotions were tested. It kind of had everything I needed. The beauty we had coming here is we didn't have anyone in the 4 that I couldn't be so proud to see as the champion.
Yep.
I didn't know we were going to go on the emotional roller coaster we went on today. I knew it was going to be big, but it had some ups and downs even I didn't expect, and that's NASCAR, right? We were delivered something that was unexpected.
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback off these 3 gentlemen here just because this year has been full of so many storylines, so much highs, so many lows. I love sports. This is why I love sports, is watching things like this in a season like 2025 unfold. But here on Inside the Race, we couldn't do it without you race fans. Steve and I come up here every week and we talk, and I'm sure you guys may be tired of hearing us. I hope not, because we love tuning in with you guys and having this conversation with the fans. So on behalf of Jeff Burton, Kyle Petty, Mamba Smith, Matt Weaver, our friends at Yahoo Sports and Motorsport.com, myself and Steve Letarte, thank you so much for a wonderful, wonderful season. We'll see you on 2026. But don't forget, tune in to the NASCAR Awards. Tuesday night, we'll have all the coverage crowning our champions.